the only ceilings that exist are the ones that we place over ourselves, and we have the power to smash through those, right? So let's lean into each other, let's lean on each other, and let's freaking shatter some ceilings, okay?
Yes. Welcome to the UpliftHER Leadership Series, a segment on the Self-Care Goddess podcast, a special space where holistic self-care meets high performance and the feminine leads with grace, power, and purpose. This podcast is your pause in a productivity-driven world, a space to reset, regulate, and reconnect with feminine wisdom and visionary leadership. I'm your host, Rita Savoya, holistic nutritionist, trauma-informed breathwork coach, and founder of Breathwork Barista. Each week, you'll hear soul-expanding stories and thought-provoking conversations with women leaders, founders, and change makers who are redefining success and what it means to lead with heart. These are the conversations we need to create the future we desire, rooted in self-care, integrity, and soul-aligned leadership. Breathe in your power, breathe out the overwhelm, and let's begin. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Self-Care Goddess podcast with today's special segment, UpliftHER Leadership Series. But before I go on to introduce my awesome guests today, let's walk the talk on the podcast and just really take a few minutes, literally to just tune out the outer world and go within. So I invite you, if you can, and it's accessible, lowering your gaze or even closing your eyes to really tune out what's going on around you and tune in. Become more present by following your inhales, flowing in through the nose and out of the mouth with a slight sigh. In through the nose, allowing the belly, the chest to expand on the inhales, and then exhaling with a sigh through the mouth and just letting go of any stress or tension. As you continue these focused, deep belly breaths in and out, I invite you to quickly scan your body for any particular areas that you might be feeling some tension, maybe some stiffness. We carry a lot of stress on our shoulders. So maybe relaxing those shoulders by allowing the exhales to flow in and out of that area. So allowing those deep exhales to soften and relax those areas where you might be feeling some tension. And as you continue these deep belly breaths in and out, I invite you now to channel them into the area of the heart. Where attention goes, energy flows. So let's energize this beautiful organ that's keeping you alive. And in this space, I invite you now to visualize someone that you're grateful for today, living or past. Visualize this person as if they were right here in front of you. I invite you to acknowledge them and send them all the love, the gratitude, and the appreciation for being in your life. And now I invite you to turn that love, that gratitude and appreciation, turn it on to yourself and send it to yourself for being here and making the time for self-care and self-love. On your next inhale, slowly flutter your eyes open and come back to us. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us on that quick coherence technique from the Heart Math Institute, getting your heart, your mind, and your body into coherence so you can just relax and become a lot more receptive to the amazing information we're about to share on the Uplift Her, a special leadership segment of the Self-Care Goddess podcast, where high-performing women share their wisdom, lessons, and stories to inspire the next generation of leaders. So today's guest is a definition of unstoppable, and not just because Sia said so. Erica Rooney is a powerhouse in leadership, gender equality, and workplace culture. With over 15 years of HR experience under her belt, including her role as Chief People Officer in the tech industry, she's the best-selling author of Glass Ceilings and Sticky Floors, and the host of the podcast by the same name, where she's helping thousands break free from limiting beliefs and step boldly into their full potential. Erica is also the founder of Her Collective, a digital community and movement designed to help women amplify their voices, elevate their careers, and own their authenticity without burning out in the process. She's graced stages like the SXSW and she's been featured in Forbes, Success Magazine, and CBS News. And she's here today to share her wisdom and her fire. Oh, and did I mention she's doing 40 hard things and reading 40 books this year to celebrate turning 40? Yeah, she's that kind of amazing. Erica, oh yes, and she also has a soft spot for cookie dough ice cream with rainbow sprinkles, of course, because it's all about balance, people. Erica Rooney, welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. How are you today? Yes, so tell us a little more about your journey and what has really sort of inspired you to write this amazing book. And I love the title, by the way.
As glass ceilings and sticky floors, it's so interesting because I never thought I would write a book. And I never really had a big desire to write a book. It wasn't something that I just thought that I would do. But in my quest as an ambitious woman to always achieve, and go after things, I got to the top of the food chain, right? I was a chief people officer. And a lot of people are like, what does that even mean? It's the head of HR, right? I was hiring people, firing people, and doing everything in between. And I was really burning out because I was also a very busy mom and I was trying to, be this picture perfect mother while also being a picture perfect executive and the picture perfect friend and the picture perfect everything else. And you know how that goes. You just pile it on and on and on until you burn out. And I had been feeling really unhappy in my chief people officer role, and I knew I wanted to start a podcast. And so I finally gathered the courage to do that. And back then it was called the From Now to Next podcast. Now it's called the Glass Ceiling and Sticky Floor podcast. But I started talking with women who were in C-level positions or leaders in their company because I wanted to know, what were the things that you went through? And then how did you do that? Right? Because I kept feeling like I'm running into these glass ceilings, I'm bumping up against these things. So I wanted to selfishly talk with all these other women. And I started to see these themes bubble up between all of the women. The theme of perfectionism, right? Imposter syndrome, burnout. Hello, that was a big one. But I also started to see themes like staying in relationships that were no longer meant for them, or becoming, that person who always stayed attached to their phone all night and couldn't put it down and they'd be doom scrolling, or like me, the person who drank way too much wine to cope with their feelings of burnout. And I recognized that and I said, yeah, that'd be interesting, right? Still didn't think much of it. But at the same time, I read a book on HR called Change Enthusiasm. And for whatever reason, something in that book told me that I needed to talk to that author. And I have never reached out to an author in my life. It's never been something I would do, but I did. And she graciously took my call on the way to an airport. And we talked about life and what I was doing. She said, you need to put that in a book. And I was like, whoop. I was like, you're crazy, right? But that seed had been planted, right? And then as I kept progressing with my podcasting journey and my coaching journey and my journey in HR, that seed started to grow and it then became a what if, right? And then I just started doing it and I just started writing chapters. And before I knew it, I actually had an entire manuscript on my book. And that's when I was like, you got to go all in. You got to get it out to the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it. Why the title Sticky Floors? I get the glass ceiling. So why the sticky floors?
Yeah, a lot of people are like, where did you come up with that? Is it because you have little kids? Like, what's the deal? And I'm like, no, although my floors are probably sticky. I just kept feeling and kept hearing the word stuck, right? And I just had this visual of women, especially in corporate America. We hear about the glass ceiling all the time. I had that visual of just staring up at the glass ceiling. I didn't envision climbing the corporate ladder for whatever reason. That didn't pop into my head, but I just envisioned being stuck on the floor, almost like in bubble gum. And I was
Mhm.
like, we're stuck in our own BS, really, is what I was
Mhm.
envisioning. And then that's where the whole concept of sticky floors came in.
And so the sticky floors are our limiting beliefs, our self-talk, that inner critic, all that stuff that we're
Yeah.
trying to work through. And it's a
Yes.
journey. I'm definitely still working through, and no matter how many years of self-development and different modalities that I use. So is that what that sticky floor that keeps us stuck?
Yes, you nailed it on the head. They are the limiting beliefs, but they are also the toxic behaviors that keep us stuck, right? And it's the self-talk, it's the limiting beliefs. It's saying, I can't do that, or I could never be that person. It's all of that. And all of that is just a bunch of mind trash, right? That we've got to clear out. But it's very hard to do so because it's all ingrained in our unconscious minds, right? All of
Mm.
these, neuro pathways that we've formed from what we've learned in our childhood and what we've observed on TV and how we've interacted and just in the world has created that for us. So you mentioned like, I'm always working on it. I'm still working on it. Girl, we can be working on them till the day we die. Okay. Like if we
Mhm.
are really about growth, which we are, that's what we're doing here,
Right.
always working on these things because perfect doesn't exist. And that means there's always room for growth. So
Exactly.
we're
And
just
also,
doing the good work.
right. And it's also priorities change throughout your life as well. So what may have worked or something that you were really passionate about or prioritizing 20 years ago, I could just imagine even my own life. It doesn't really, I've switched gears now. Now I'm more focused on this versus that. So that's why it's always continuing the work.
Well, and also too, I'll give you a great story. Someone asked
Mhm.
me not too long ago, how about imposter syndrome, Erica? Like, how are you dealing with imposter syndrome? And I said, you know what? Like, I actually think I'm feeling pretty good about that, right? Like, I'm feeling pretty good about my successes where I've been. I don't think I really have that anymore. And she
Mhm.
said, well, that's interesting, Erica. How come you're not charging $40,000 for every coaching client you take? And I was like, well, I couldn't charge that.
Hmm.
I see what you did there. But that's what I said, new level, new devil, right? And so
Yeah.
they continue to bubble up. Even if you think like I've got that covered,
Yes.
I have it covered today, but it might rear its ugly head tomorrow.
Exactly. I love that. So were there some really wow or aha moments when you're writing your book that really stood out, would you say?
This one, it came to me more in the podcasting journey, but it definitely is really all about the book too. And as I'm going through all of these different chapters with all of these sticky floors, right? And there's like 13 chapters in this book. I am like, I've got a personal story for every single one of these. And I was like, man, I must be real messed up. Like what's wrong with me? And so I think that was kind of one of the big aha moments for me is I realized that I did allow some of these sticky floors to impact my world in ways that sometimes I didn't even realize. And part of that's why I love talking about this with women like you, because you could share a story that could just shed so much awareness for me in my own personal life that I wouldn't have never had that opportunity had we not been talking. And I'm just so grateful because all of those conversations that I had with women and the stories that got into the book and the people I interviewed, every story that they shared with me, I felt like part of it was resonating with me in some way, shape, or form, which just allows me to be more aware and allows me to kind of move through those sticky floors faster.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of having these conversations. Your podcast, your book is really to collapse timelines. And maybe, just maybe, some woman out there will not go through that same mistake that we did because we sort of warned her about it because nobody was warning us, right? And so we had to live through it or, learn from it through by experiencing it.
Yeah, one of my favorite questions that I always ask when I'm talking with women is like, what is the one piece of advice that you would give your younger self?
That today, Erica,
Girl.
expedite that question.
And what I will tell you is that piece of advice changes all the time, and it depends on where we're going and what we're doing and what else I've learned in my life. Like, I think if I went back and
Mm.
heard that my answer to that question, it would be so different every time, right? I think you did ask me right now, but I think today it would be to embrace more stillness, right?
Mm.
embrace more stillness. And that's an area in my life right now that I'm trying to lean more into, right? Since leaving corporate and starting my own business, it's finding a rested ambition, right? Which
Oh.
I didn't have the luxury of before.
And what does that mean for you, embracing more stillness? Does it mean like physically, mentally, spiritually? What is that
It
encompass?
definitely means, yeah, it's all of that. And so I was actually thinking about this morning because I used to be that woman that was up hitting the ground running literally on the treadmill at 4 a.m., right? Got to get it all in to then go to work and do all the things. And today I was just laying on my porch, reading my book, petting my dog, and I had a zero desire to hustle that
Mm.
moment. And I really realized like I'm entering my quieter era where I want to have slower mornings where I'm fitting less things into the day. And I think what that means for me is really more about being more present. And as a woman who was running her own business and being in corporate and being a mom and all the things I wasn't able to do, right? I didn't have that luxury, but now I do. And I want to be very mindful of stepping out of my default, which is hustle, 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 and more into that rested ambition.
I love that. That's beautiful. And so I teach cultural intelligence, and part of that is values. And there is the one of the values is being versus doing. And I feel like a lot of high achieving, ambitious women are doers. And what we're trying to do is balance the being part because you could still be productive, but be more in on the being side of the spectrum. I mean, honestly, Erica, when I go on vacation, I have to-do lists in terms of things I want to see. And some people look at me and like, what are you doing? And you're on vacation, just go with the flow. I'm like, no, but I really want to accomplish these things while I'm on vacation. So that's again, I'm so engraved in that doing that even when I'm on vacation, I'm still doing. So I'm also with you on this being and having it be the new hustle instead of like go, go, go and actually like just be. And I love that, incorporating more stillness. And it's interesting. There was somebody yesterday was talking about she schedules in do nothing time into her calendar. And it's literally doing nothing. And I think even maybe sitting on your porch reading a book and petting the dog is will be considered doing something. So she literally schedules that in. So I love that you're looking into that. Would you say that it was because of where you are right now? I mean, you just turned 40, which by the way, when did you turn 40? February what? I'm February.
February 20th, 0220.
Nice. Well, happy belated. Happy belated. I love that. And it's on February 9th, fellow. Yeah, you're on the cusp of Aquarius and
I'm on the
Pisces.
cusp.
But
Yep.
yeah, I can feel the energy. I can feel the Aquarius energy too. So would you say that it's because of what you've achieved, or is it your age? Like what do you think is driving that you're sort of craving more of that stillness?
Well, I think it's just this whole perplexity of time and how fast and slow it goes all at the same time, right? And I've got these two kids. They're 10, and then my daughter turns 7 tomorrow,
Oh,
actually.
nice.
And I so savor these moments, and I'm that mom that like I love and I hate every single phase. There's something good and terrible about all of it, but I want to just enjoy it. And I don't know, I think I was just so clearly seeing how much work was just consuming me and everything around me. And truthfully, I mean, you mentioned values earlier. I was starting to have some values conflict. And so for me, that became a very clear line in the sand that it was time to really step out and do my own thing so that I could live the way I wanted to live and lead the way I wanted to lead.
I love that. And I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about that too, that career change and sort of that whole direction. I mean, I've done it. It's tough. Would you recommend it to, or who would you recommend it for? Is it for everyone, or do you have to be a certain personality type, or what are your thoughts on that? Like, how do you coach women that are sort of, dabbling into this, but not yet ready? What would you say?
So, well, first I get the first question I always get is like, when do you know it's right to leave corporate America? And I hate this answer, but when it happens, it will make sense. And it's one of those like, you just know kind of moments. It's like, when am I going to meet the love of my life? How will I know? You just know. And I never believed that until it happened to me. And I kept having this moving goalpost, right? I'll quit when this retention bonus hits, or I'll quit when this year, or I'll quit when. No, that goalpost kept moving. But when I had the values conflict is where it really was like that cemented that goalpost in the sand and quite frankly, right in front of me. And it was like, okay, this is where we're at. And first of all, I would just say, I think anybody can pivot out of corporate and be an entrepreneur or pivot into a completely different industry and do
Mhm.
anything that they want to do. I really I wrote this book about infinite possibilities and I really believe in infinite possibilities. Now, the amount of work it might take, are you
Different
willing to
story.
do the work? Yeah, like that's the question. And I think it's just like, can you have fun with it? Are you the kind of person that will not let failure stop you? Now, I'm not saying, are you the person that does let failure stop? I'm asking you, are the person that will, because I don't care what you did in the past, right? I care what you're going to do in the future. And so, what kind of person do you want to be? Right. And one of my core values is courage. And so I always ask myself, if I feel like I'm teetering, is this what a courageous person would do? Is this the thing a
Mhm.
courageous person would do? And if the answer is no, I know I'm not living according to my values. And so you've got to really think about the things about you that are insecurities that you really struggle with. And just know that all of those are going to come bubbling up and out, and they're going to be loud and proud. And if you do not have the courage to face whatever those demons are, then you're dead in the water.
And how do you muster up that courage? Is it through a supporting network, mentors, preparation? I don't know, going back to school. Like, how do you?
I
What do
think what works for me, I mean, I definitely believe that I think having an education gives me a level of confidence, but
you?
that's a learned thing, right? But for me, that's a learned thing. So having the education, having, some of the awards and the titles, that doesn't really mean much to me when it comes to the confidence thing and being able to move forward with
Mhm.
it. I think what's really important is that you just recognize we're all messed up at doing all of it. And we're all trying to figure it out as we go, but not let it stop you. And it's interesting because my husband and I have these conversations all the time. He is very much like a worker bee. Like, I just want to come, I want to do my 9 to 5, and I want to go. And I'm more of that visionary, big type person. But because I'm a solopreneur right now, I've had to learn to
Mhm.
be both. Do I love doing and being the worker bee? Absolutely not. But I can see the long term vision and I can stick to the plan, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes. And I love that because the courage you brought in another C, which is confidence. So it's bringing in that confidence so that it can squash the when you actually
All
meet the
the
fear.
trash and the sticky floor.
Exactly. What are your thoughts on faking it till you make it?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people, right? There's some camps, the fake it till you make it,
Yes.
one that's like be it until you become it. I don't know. They have all these different things. And I actually include this in one of my keynotes where I don't love the idea of fake it till you make it, but I prefer to do something called modeling.
Hmm.
And that's what I've always done. And I didn't realize it until I really started digging into the brain science and actually found the studies that show that when you model as if, right? If I'm looking at you and I'm like, oh my God, she's this amazing podcast host. She's got such a presence about her. I want to be like that, right? I don't fake it and copy, right? But I kind of model the way you hold yourself. I think, okay, how would she approach this guest? How would she ask the guest this question? Would she
Right.
let them finish the sentence or would she cut them off? And I think through those things. And as I get comfortable in that new role, and then I can start to add in the pieces of it that are more authentically Erica. So it becomes this modeling until you have truly become it. And then you're going after the next thing.
Right, right. And you're owning it as well. Yes, because I've actually had to fake it till I made it. Because when I started my consulting business in Dubai, I didn't want to lose the client. I didn't want to lose the project. So they actually asked me about something, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, I can do that for you. Yeah. I mean, they didn't ask me if I did it before. So I was like, okay, I'm technically, I'm still with my values, integrity and honesty and trust and all of that. I'm still there. And so they're like, can you do this for us? I was like, yep, I can do it. Went home, Googled it, researched, talked to people. And yeah, I was actually creating it on the go.
I
For
love
me.
that because that is how it's all done, right? Like everybody has done that at some point. I think about trial lawyers, and the very first time they have to go up in front of a live judge and jury. And I imagine like some young trial judge or fresh out of college up against like,
Yeah.
your traditional 60-year-old white man who's been doing it his whole life, for 16 generations. He can't get in there and fake it till he makes it. Like, we all can look at him. We know. But he can look at the greats and he can learn from the greats and he can get out there and be great, right? Without having to fake it. But I'm camp you. Like, I have told people if they ask me if I can do it, I absolutely can.
Yeah. I'll
Do I know
figure it
how?
out.
Absolutely not, but I will figure it out. It's just a good belief in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It really does. It just does. And this reminds me of neuro linguistics programming, and we use mirroring and modeling as well. So I think it's all coming together now. And I've taken this training, Erica, like 15 years ago, never used it. And now like it's all coming back. It's so amazing how you do that, right? Intuitively, like, oh, maybe I should just take this for myself. Right. So you talked a little bit about like burnout and not wanting to burn out. What are some warning signs that maybe our listeners and viewers can sort of watch out for? Because it is definitely more of an epidemic right now happening than ever. So what are some warning signs that you had?
Yeah, for me, it was in the micro moments of the day, right? There was no big fiery explosion. And it was my inability to have a slow morning, right? I would wake up and my brain would immediately be on work, and the anxiety would not stop until I was logged in doing work, right?
Mhm.
And then I would work all day. I Burnout signs, not getting up to pee. That's a sign, right? When you need to. How many of us have sat there in back to back to back Zooms, never once going to the bathroom?
Yeah.
For what,
Yeah.
right? Who
Ridiculous.
is going to say if you Who's going to tell you anything if you say, "Excuse me, I need 2 minutes in the washroom"? No,
Hmm.
right? Nobody. So that was a sign for me, pouring larger and larger glasses of wine, as the week went on, Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That was a sign for me getting snippy with the people I loved, right? Thinking they didn't understand how important all these things were. So I think over like conflating how important work was, work is never important, y'all, unless you were out there saving lives, right?
Yeah. You work in the
Work
ER.
of a steady HR woman in tech was not that, okay?
I know I often used to say, because I was in HR too, we work in HR, not ER. Please, this can
Yes.
wait. Like this can totally
Yes.
wait, right? Or the worst was when like your boss would ask you to do something and they was like, okay, it needs to be done today. And then they didn't look at it for like 2 weeks. Can you believe that? That was so heartbreaking. But anyway, that's why part of the reason why I left corporate as well. So tell us a little more. How do you balance? Is there even such a thing of balancing work life? What are your thoughts on that and how do you do it?
Yes, I think it's possible, and I think it can be challenging, and I think you have to be kind to yourself, right? And I
Mhm.
say that because when I was working in corporate America and I was doing my business and growing it and being a mom to 2 little kids, I felt stretched very thin, but I felt like it was like I was handling it all and truly felt like I was achieving it all. Like I really did. I was very proud of the work I was doing and how I was managing it all. All that being said, that type of hustle was never sustainable, right? It was not something that I could do forever. It was something I could do short term. And because I was doing that, when I did make the decision to leave before my last day, I was very intentional in I wanted to create what I called my life by design, which
Mm,
was how do I want these days to look? And I knew that I didn't want to start working until my kids went to school and that
mhm,
I wanted to stop working when they got home. So I very rarely take meetings after 2 o'clock. Right.
mhm.
And if I do, it's probably because I've got a trip coming up or something and I need to put more things, in a
Right.
few days. But I'm very intentional about that time. And
Mhm,
I'm also trying, this is a work in progress, right? Trying to be more intentional about how much I take on at a time, right?
mhm.
Because I want to do all the things and I get very eager to do all the things.
Yeah.
Being realistic in what I can actually handle in those hours is important. And I would say this last thing is also knowing that everything isn't urgent,
Mhm.
right? If somebody wants to network with me and they reach out and send me an email and they want to get coffee next week, guess what? They probably still want to get coffee next month too.
Yeah.
So if I
Yeah.
got to punt them to next month, it's okay.
Yes, I love that. And thank you for replying to my emails because I know how busy you are. And thank you. I so appreciate you coming on here and talking about this. So it has to do, it sounds like, with intentionally planning, which I actually just came across this, that a lot of people, successful people, are actually calendarizing, if that's even a word, from like the minute they wake up to the end of the day, just to kind of really, like this woman, she really brings in or schedules do nothing time. So it's in there, and that's really, it sets boundaries, doesn't it?
It does. I can't be that attached to my calendar. I
Mhm.
like to have a little bit more flexibility, I think, in what I do. Like, for example, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my daughter has cheer. So I bring my laptop and I go to cheer with my laptop because she's in a totally different room than me, right? It
Right.
doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
so I'll work then. But yeah, it just, you have to find what works for you. I do prefer to be more flexible outside of my working hours. Like, there are people that schedule wake up, work out, cook dinner. I, I can't, don't
It
bother
doesn't
me.
work for you.
That's too much. But
Right, right.
I do have 2:30 all the way down blocked off as family time.
Right. But it's not what you like, it's not scheduled what you do with
But it's
family
not
time. But
whatever
it's
happens in those family time hours is whatever happens.
yeah, no, I like that for sure. I like to get my workouts in the morning as well. And then sometimes I do them more
Yes.
in the afternoon. But yeah, it's more about those core hours being there and creative hat on and creating all of this stuff. So we talked a little bit about, well, the actual title. And I think this, because as I was talking to having sort of pre-calls with these with women, felt like there was a theme, like you when you were doing your podcast. There was a theme that we talked about, which is balancing masculine and feminine energy. And I know in your book, this is definitely part of that as well. What are your thoughts on that? Are we moving the needle? Because I also, when I was in Dubai, had to work really a lot more from my masculine energy just because to feel respected. And I was dressing more in suits. And, I wasn't just being like always so cheery and happy.
Right.
And I was just more serious to be taken serious to win those projects. And it wasn't until, and I didn't know I was doing that, but it wasn't until I came back to help my mom and nurture her to with her health issues that I was like, oh, this feels actually more natural, feels nicer, feels lighter, feels more fun. It feels more like me. And so I learned to sort of balance more, at least recognize that when I'm in too much in my masculine, it's not feeling good. It's feeling
Mhm.
stressful. It's feeling heavy. So what are your thoughts on that? Did you feel that in corporate or not? And maybe what are you seeing in terms of a trend?
I think that when I was in corporate, I was like all up in the masculine because I was a C-level leader, which meant I had to be a leader and I had to stand my ground. And as a woman in tech, having to stand your ground means showing up even more so in that way. And I think also, even though the matriarch of the family is a maternal role, I was also more of like, think of it like the CEO of the household kind of thing rather
Mhm.
than the matriarch, right? So then I was running everything in the house and it was like I couldn't turn that off. And it was only afterwards, and maybe 3 or 4 months after I quit corporate, about 3 months after I quit, I said, I finally feel like I can start to slow down. And the fact that I just had a 40-hour-a-week job go completely away and it took me like 3 months to slow down, it's like shows you how ingrained those processes become. But my mother said to me, you seem a lot happier and you seem a lot lighter. And
Hmm.
I think a lot of that was because I was able to do the things that I do really love, which is being a mother, a mama to my children, like being involved in their everyday life, not just being the person to shuffle them around, right? Having conversations with them in the car versus being on a Zoom while I'm picking up from carpool. Because I was able to slow down, I was able to lean more back into that feminine energy, which does make me happier, right? Very much so, like you said, it makes me feel more aligned. It brings me greater joy.
Mm.
And what I'm seeing is I think more women just being so tired of having to be so masculine
Mhm.
and they're stepping back and they're trying to figure out how to slow it down a bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's just what I'm seeing.
Yeah. And when you switched into the entrepreneurial world, what are you feeling? Are you feeling more that you can balance both because you have that time and you've made those boundaries that from this time it's work mode and then it's family mode, so you can be that more nurturing mom? Or is it easier, that
Yeah, I definitely
entrepreneurial
think it's
shift?
easier. I think it's easier. I don't know. There's something different about it this go because I'm thinking about where I am today, present state, the state of my business, the revenue, all of that. And then when I look to the future and I see where I'm going, I still have the same feeling inside, like it doesn't, and that's that calm feeling and just that feeling of like, I don't know, an inner knowing perhaps of like, this is where I'm supposed to be and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I envision that when I'm where I'm going, I'm gonna have a lot of help around me, right? People running the show, people doing this and that, which means I'm the boss. But it just doesn't feel like it's that same kind of energy,
Yeah.
because I'm also not chasing a revenue number,
Mhm.
and I'm not looking at people as head count anymore, right?
Mhm.
I'm more looking at like what impact can I leave? How can I help more women? What can I do? So it's also very different in that sense.
And yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing. As you said, it's shifting. People are, or women are stepping back. And what does that look like? What do you think that's going to look like in the future? Like more women in the C level doing more of feminine energy? Like, I think it's going to be amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Need it. I mean, we need more of it, right? Like the studies out there show that companies that are led by women who are high in empathy have better results. And so it's a no-brainer for business.
I just hope that more people embrace this. And
Yeah.
if there's a woman out there listening or watching this, like, you can be more nurturing and still be a badass boss, right?
Amen.
I love it. I love it. Maybe we need trainings on this, right? Or normalize it or something so that it's okay to, to cry or something during
Yeah.
a board meeting, and you'll still have that respect, right? But I think we still have a long way to go, but we're getting better. Like, more and more women are embracing it. And it's come up as a theme here on this podcast, which I was not even expecting for it to
Interesting.
come up. So yeah, very, very interesting. And it doesn't really matter the industry as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that makes
Mhm.
sense.
So, what is your legacy? Speaking of legacy, in terms of what do you hope to leave behind to the next generation of leaders, of women leaders?
Man, I hope to leave behind a whole other generation of badass women leaders, like that. I tell people like the reason somebody asked me what was the hope for your book, right? And I was like, honestly, I hope my book is obsolete in 10 years. I hope people read it. I hope my daughter, when she's old enough to really read this and understand it, is like, what?
It was a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, like, oh my God, it's in 1902. Like, what yeah, couldn't wear pants. That's what I want that book to be like. And, we're at a state of the world where DEI is under attack and women are DEI, right? So I don't know. I have worries about that. And I hope that the book changes people. I hope that it empowers young women and girls to believe more in themselves, right? Believe that they are also made for more and capable for more, and that they're probably not dreaming big enough. So I hope it really encourages them to chase bigger dreams, because that is another piece of advice I would tell my younger self, which would be to dream bigger dreams. The young Erica never ever would have thought she would have been in the C-suite. The young Erica would have never quit a job without having another corporate job lined up. You
Right,
know?
right.
So, dream bigger.
Yes, I love that. And how can we dream bigger? What are some things? And I think we mentioned, yes, know what your values are, right? So do some sort of value exercise, understand yourself more and what gets you going and what triggers you too as well. But how can we dream bigger? Like, what
Mm.
is that? What if it's not like, what if we've grown up with parents that just keep telling us not to dream that big? Oh, you're dreaming,
Yeah.
And here we are telling them dream bigger.
Well, you know what? This is where I love, like, look for case studies. Look for examples where this has actually worked. And because I have a 7-year-old daughter, we are all up in our Taylor Swift era, right? There was nothing special about Taylor Swift when she started rolling around as a teenager, right, to these places in Nashville. yet there was everything special about Taylor Swift,
Mm.
right? And so you don't have to be rich or famous. Like Taylor Swift, I think her family owned a Christmas tree farm or something like that. Like she was just a normal person on the side of the road. So was Oprah. Now she's this mega star, humanitarian, amazing person. And so that could be any single one of us, right? We think it couldn't be us because statistically speaking, it's probably not going to be us. But why not you?
Mm.
Right? Why was it Taylor Swift? It was because she didn't give up, right? It was because she kept going at it. And yes, of course, there's a lot of other things that are in there, right? You've got to have supportive parents that will drive you around to give your mixtape out and all of these other things. But there are people out there that were just average people that were told they would never succeed, that were told their music was trash, that were told they weren't made for radio, television, or anything like that, and they're doing it anyways.
Mhm.
So if you feel like, okay, I could never be in the C-suite, or I could never own my own business, or I could never be a millionaire, right? That's for crazy rich people. Why not you? And that's what I would ask. I would straight up tell yourself and ask yourself when you're having those questions, why not you? Why not you, Erica? What's your good answer? You know?
And most people will be like, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't have an answer. You can if it's not going to be you, let it be because you've made that decision.
Mhm.
If it's not going to be you because you don't want to put in the work, that's fine.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't want to be a Taylor Swift.
Right.
It could be you. So when you're telling these people dream bigger,
Mhm.
even like for myself, I think about like the sizes of the stages or what stages I'm going to be on, right? Why is my goal to be on a local news station when it could be to be on Good Morning America, right?
Mhm.
And so I would say that's the first step. And then the second step is try to get in some sort of circle where like people are doing things like that, right? Because you are the sum of the people who you surround yourself with. And
Right.
so it's so important that if you want to go do those things, you need to be around people who are doing those things.
Yes, exactly. And motivating you, inspiring you, and
Yes,
helping you as well, open some doors.
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. You are the average of the five people. And it's just like in any sport as well. When you want to get better, you play with people that are better than you in order to improve your game.
Oh my gosh, I tell my 10-year-old son all the time, if you're the best player on the team, you're on the wrong team. He doesn't never like that answer, but that's
Yeah,
life.
yeah, that's true. That's so true. So, Erica, what's one rule, and this has been really fun to ask, you've joyfully broken on your way to where you are now?
This is interesting. That ice cream is bad, right? Like I grew up in the health and wellness industry. Like that was a treat that you might have every now and then. Girl, I love to have me some ice cream several times a week now. I got me some cookie dough ice cream in the fridge for tonight.
Nice, very nice. Oh, I love that. I love that. So, how do you take care of yourself? What are your top three self-care rituals?
Ooh, so if I have the time, a facial. I love a good facial.
You
It's
have a
like
beautiful glow, by the way. Yeah, is that the facial? Wow.
that. I mean, I do a
Skincare
skincare
routine.
routine. I love a good skincare routine.
Okay, so tell us what is that?
What is a skincare routine?
Yeah.
Well, okay, but now I'm trying to phase out a one skincare routine into another.
Okay.
But it's a mix of things. But what I will tell you is if you are a parent and you have a little girl or a little boy, but like my little girl's the one that does this with me, every night we love to play spa. And
Oh,
guess what? She likes to be the woman who puts all my lotions and my creams all over my face. And I just get to lay there like I'm having a real facial.
I love
And
that.
she does this whole little bit. So that's my parenting tip for the day. But facials are definitely one way. I just scheduling time to do whatever I want to do. I was going to say do nothing, but literally it's not doing nothing. It's usually something like watching true crime with a sweet treat or a snack or just getting out and walking on the trails. Like I love doing that.
Mm. Yeah, super cool. I love it too. I'm walking in nature. So my other podcast, a lot of my guests, like I would say 80%, maybe more, just walking in nature and
Oh
just
yeah.
so therapeutic. And after a rainfall is even better, even more therapeutic for us as well. But yeah, just that reconnection with nature is so important that we've lost. So I get you on that. I was actually going to ask you if you had a full day to yourself with no responsibilities, no kids, no nothing, no work, what would that look like? But I think you kind of explained it. But if you want to go
I mean,
ahead.
girl, I could manifest that day all day long, right? So I'd still get up early because that's just what I do.
How early do you get up?
I automatically wake up around 5 o'clock every day.
What time do you go to sleep to wake up at 5?
Girl, like 9 o'clock, early bed girl. I put my kids to bed and then I go to bed. But I would get up, I would just sit on the couch and I would read and I would take my time there. And then I would probably go for a nice walk outside while it was still the morning. I would probably spend a lot of time just creating, just brainstorming, thinking about what I want to do next, imagining. But I love getting lost in a good book. Like I usually, when I say I get up in the morning and I read, they're all growth books. So reading for fiction is more the pleasure. That would be what I would then move into. But do that, bake a puzzle. Like I love doing things that just take my mind away.
Yes, because we're always on, right? So it's so nice to kind of just, I love walking and with nothing. Sometimes I do affirmations. I don't know if you do affirmations. Those are really powerful for me, but sometimes I just want to listen to the birds and whatever else is going on around me. I think that's so meditative for me as well. So given your experience, what would be a piece of advice you'd give high performing women on how to cultivate resilience, especially during these times of uncertainty and a bit of chaos?
I think women are pretty resilient as is. And I think like we always show up and we know what to do. So I would say you already have all the resilience you need, but don't be afraid to ask for help and don't be afraid to lean on your friends. And I think that as women, especially high achieving women, we don't like to ask for help.
Yeah. Why is that? Why do you think that? I know a couple that are popping in
Yeah.
my head. I'm just ask me, I'm here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we were actually just talking about this in one of my last coaching calls in the community, but I think a lot of it has to believe that like if we don't have all the answers, if we can't do it all, then I am not good enough, right? I am not loved. I am not worthy. And depending on the situation, it all kind of ties into something like that. They won't value me as much, right? And so we're tying it somehow to our worth. And it's a lot of insecurities that we typically end up having about ourselves, right? Like if we're sitting there saying they're not going to think I'm good enough for this job, we might believe a little bit that we're not quite good enough for this job yet, you know? And so it's all about just paying attention to that inner dialogue.
And breaking down those barriers and then getting to the core wound. So when I do my breathwork integration coaching, we actually use breathwork to help the client get into a self-hypnosis state. And then we go into the coaching process where we find out, okay, where is that core wound coming from? And then break that with another breathwork breakthrough session. So it's pretty powerful what the breath can do for us. But yeah, it's quite interesting. So it has to do with our sort of tying it back. So how do we break that sort of? Is it the inner critic? Is it switching?
I mean, you know what? It's a lot of things, but sometimes then it also becomes just learned behavior. So that's why, and to tie this all the way back to the very beginning, we talked about doing 40 hard things this year because I turned 40. One of the hardest things I did this year, and this is hilarious, and even I know it is hilarious, is I had to hire a garage door repairman to come fix my garage door. You know those clickers that you have in your car to open the garage door, the portable ones, and then there's the ones that are built into the rear view mirror of all the fancy cars these days. So of course I have one of those buttons on my rear view mirror, but I've never been able to program it. It doesn't work. I can't figure it out. I'm on a ladder, I'm doing this, so I've just given up. Right. Well, I'm like, I've got this garage door repairman here. Like, he probably knows exactly how to fix this. It'll probably take 1 second. I should ask him, right? No, I don't want to inconvenience him. No. We'll figure it out on ourselves later. We couldn't possibly ask the garage. So one of the hard things I did this year was I asked the garage door repairman to connect my clicker to my car. And guess what? It took him 1 second and he was perfectly happy to do it.
Wow.
So I share all of that to say how you become comfortable doing things that are hard for you is by doing things that are hard for you, right?
Mhm.
Now, that didn't make it easy, but it was a small thing that I knew I could do. And then you can ask for something a little bit bigger, something a little different, and you continue to ask for that help until it becomes a little bit easier, right?
Mhm.
And then when people offer it to you, just accept it. Say, yes, I'll take
Mhm.
that help. Yes, you can bring a bottle of wine to the dinner. Yes, you can bring something to brunch.
Mhm.
It's not hard, right?
It's
But
true.
it can be at the same time. So doing the hard thing is what will make doing the hard thing easier.
Right. That's so true. Because then it becomes a learned habit or it becomes more natural, almost like autopilot.
Absolutely.
Yes, I need help. Yes, I need this. And yes. Yes. Cause I say no at first because I'm waiting for them to be like, are you sure? And then I'll say it. But I want to break that strategy because yeah, sometimes they don't follow up with, are you sure? And I'm like, no, I'm screwed. I should have said yes.
You should have just said yes to begin with. Oh my goodness.
What other things are on your 40 hard things to do that you want to share?
Some were hard conversations, with people that I had been putting off, right? That were urgent, but would be regrettable if I didn't have them. One of the other things is reading 40 books this year because that is going to be hard. There's running a half marathon because I do love to run, but
Oh,
I don't
wow.
always take the time. One of them was some of my business adventures. So all sorts of stuff is making it on that list. But what I will also tell you is sometimes just putting the smaller hard things on the list is a hard thing for me because originally I didn't have that garage door request on the list because why would anybody think that's hard? Right. And then I had to have that whole conversation with myself. It doesn't matter about what other people say or perceive, right? This is an Erica Rooney thing. This is an Erica Rooney
Yes.
inside job. If this is hard for me, this is hard for me. And it's okay.
Right.
That was a hard thing. And just really leaning in because it was also very eye opening that I didn't give myself a lot of credit for doing hard things.
Yes. And actually, that's one of the rapid fire questions about how you celebrate your wins and stuff. So we'll wait to that. But if you could have lunch with any woman, past or present, who would it be? Who would be invited and why?
Can I invite multiple people or is this just like one?
One on one.
I only get one. I only get one. I mean, I always say I think I would choose my grandmother because my grandmother passed away when I was in college and there was so much I had no idea about, like just learning in life. And I think now, in hindsight, all of these lessons I've learned, I would just be so fascinated to pick her brain on them and hear her perspectives and just get her advice, honestly.
Yeah, that's so cool. You're the second person that said that. And I too lost my grandparents very young, actually, even younger. And I'm just fascinated when I see elderly people. I'm just like, talk to me about the war, talk to me about this.
Yeah.
How did you survive that? And yeah, it's so great. Is it your maternal mother or paternal?
Yes.
Grandmother. Maternal. Yeah, that's same answer as another lady as well. So you're reading a lot of books and you've read, I'm sure, but what is a book, a quote, or a mantra that has profoundly impacted your life?
Mm. I think honestly, the book Burnout by the
Hmm.
Nagalski sisters, Emily and Amelia Nagalski. And I think that was one of the books that really kick-started my obsession, I suppose, with helping women climb the corporate ladder without burning out. And it was that book where I was like, yes, this one is backed by science and there is data and it makes sense. And it was putting tangible things to feelings that I had been having. And I think that was a very pivotal moment for me. So that book is a 10 out of 10 recommend.
Nice. I love that too. And looking back at your journey, you've achieved so much. And I mean, there's obviously a lot more that you want to achieve as well. Is there anything, Erica, that you're wanting to achieve or accomplish? So
Ooh.
yeah, something that's on the immediate bucket list.
Ooh, the immediate list?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, one thing I put on my vision board for this year, that's like, you know what, that's where I'm going to go, is it was just the quote, and I'm looking at it now. That's why you see my eyes go this way. And it just says, I'm already booked. So that is on my immediate. I want to be turning things down because I'm already booked.
I love it. On stages for speaking.
On stages or with clients, right?
Okay.
Like, sorry, I can't take another client right now. I just don't have capacity.
Yes.
Right. And
All
you
right.
heard me though. I'm not trying to fit more in. I'm not trying to expand my hours. I'm just booked.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. And so, okay, so what's more, let's say maybe 10 years on bucket list, a little further out.
If we go further out, 10 years, oh my gosh, I'm thinking I've got a 20-year-old and a
Mm.
17-year-old, which is wild. But at that stage with a family life, I would love to have retired my husband so that, we're only juggling one schedule
Mm.
and that I am in a place where I'm being taken around the world to these amazing trips and helping people do all these amazing things, but it also allows me the opportunity to bring my family with me. So that's what I would say is the 10-year goal.
Nice, beautiful. Where would be the most amazing place that you'd want to visit?
Oh my gosh. I've been very fortunate. I've got to travel a lot. I've been to the Maldives, I've done
Mhm.
Dubai and Abu Dhabi and all those places. And there's so many beautiful places. But I think one of the next places that's on my list, and this might be like real rinky dink compared to all those places I went to, is I want to see Montana. I've never been to Montana, but everybody keeps telling me it's freaking amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's totally doable.
Montana, right?
I love it. Let's put it out there. Yes, universe.
All the places this girl chooses Montana. Hilarious, actually. But I'm here for it.
You're so funny. I love it. I love your energy. What is okay? So these are the fun rapid fire questions.
Let's do it.
Okay. So don't overthink it. Just kind of go with the flow. Although the last one is a little bit more than a rapid fire, but okay. One word to describe you as a leader, Erica.
I mean, the first word that pops in my head is crazy, but that's like crazy in a good way because I just have a lot of ideas.
All right, cool. I get it. Morning person or night owl? I think we've answered.
you know,
Coffee, tea, or something else.
Water. I don't drink coffee at all. And I only like tea in the winter.
Nice. So that no caffeine in you right now with all this energy.
I know, isn't that really?
Wow, I thought you were on like your third
Imagine me on a
espresso.
cappuccino. Imagine me on a cappuccino.
No, I don't want to.
I tell people all the time the E in my name is for extra, extra. And the P in my name is for patience. And you're like, but Erica, there is no P in your name.
I love it. I love it. Mountains or oceans?
Well, this is always up for debate in my family, always. And it is a hard one, but there is a place in France, and I've heard there's a place in Montana where you
Hmm.
can have the mountains and a lake. So that's where I'm going to go, mountains and lake.
Okay. All right. All right. Pizza or pasta?
Pizza. Ooh, I would say with a Mexican dinner, tacos, chips,
Mm,
salsa, queso, just doing that down at the local Gonza's Tacos and Tequila.
so good, right? Actually, there's a couple of research that came out, a couple of them saying that Mexican food is like probably
Girl,
the
yes, I put that on
best.
my Instagram because I
Did you?
said, "Fuck."
Oh, I probably shared yours then. The serotonin and the dopamine. I love it. And I love eating with my hands. That's why I stayed in Dubai for 10 years because like all of the shawarmas and stuff. I love like just, yeah, finger foods. All right. So what is your go-to feel good movie with fuzzy socks and some maybe hot chocolate that you're sipping on?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be no movie, but it's gonna be trash TV like Real Housewives, Bravo, all that trash.
I love it. I would have never thought. Okay, amazing. So if you could instantly master any new skill just like that, what would it be?
And be able to speak foreign languages.
How many?
All of them. Why not? Why are you gonna limit me, girl? If you you
That's true.
take a rapid fire any skill, there's no limit.
All right. What would be the first one that you would learn?
French.
Ooh, nice.
It's just a beautiful language.
Yeah, I think Italian's nicer, but that's okay. Maybe I'm being biased. French
I
is
mean, I did live in Italy for 3 months. I actually learned how to speak Italian really well, and then I
cool.
moved back to the US, and I lost it all only to marry a man whose mother was born in Italy. But guess what, Joanna? I'm looking at you. You don't speak Italian.
Oh, where,
She lost
where
the
in
skill.
Italy?
She's from a little town called Ragusa off of
Okay. And where did you go to study?
I studied in Rome.
Nice, nice. I love
Or I'll be there in a couple weeks,
that.
actually.
Cool. Well, you can practice with me so we can, yeah, continue the Italian language together. That'd be awesome. So, what does success mean to you at this stage of your life and career?
It is a freedom of time and good health. And that's also my definition of wealth, freedom of time and good health.
Agree. I so agree. It's beautiful. And if you can gift every woman listening one thing, okay, so we can do this sort of Oprah style, you won, you got this, tangible or not, okay, what would it be?
It would be they would know their worth. It would be intangible. You know your worth, you know your worth, you know your worth. Because if you know your worth, you're not going to take shit from anybody.
Yes, and you won't limit yourself and you won't
Yeah.
let that inner critic always sort of guide the way. I love that. And so what are some things that we can do to really increase that and like really be aligned to that inner work?
Do things that you like to do. Put value on what you want to do, right? I think so often we're like, okay, we'll do that instead, or we'll do that. No, girl, you are important too. And what brings you joy matters.
Yes,
I would say
yeah.
focus in on that.
Because then you get energized like so naturally and like everything just falls into place. The universe aligns, all of these
Yes.
amazing things happen, and people are like, oh, she's so lucky. Not really. She just worked really hard
Yeah.
into those opportunities and made them happen. And that's going back to knowing your worth and again, understanding your values too. Erica, is there anything else you want to end this beautiful conversation? High energy. Like I feel like going to run.
Taking on the world, right? And what I will say is this, and this is the advice I give all my clients, and that's that the only ceilings that exist are the ones that we place over ourselves. And we have the power to smash through those, right? So let's lean into each other, let's lean on each other, and let's freaking shatter some ceilings, okay?
Yes, woo, totally. Thank you so much for your beautiful
Oh, thank
energy.
you so much.
Thank you. This has been such an energizing, really insightful conversation. I cannot wait to share it with the world. And any woman out there that's listening and just got some golden nuggets, please go ahead and action them and really start shattering those glass ceilings together. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on Uplift Her Leadership Series, a special segment of the Self-Care Goddess podcast. If this conversation lit something up in you, please share it with a fellow change maker, and let's keep building a new model of leadership together. Follow me on ritasavoya.com and stay connected for more conversations that blend well-being, wisdom, and bold feminine leadership. Until next time, breathe mindfully, live intentionally, thrive gracefully, and remember, self-care is your superpower. Ciao for now.